example problems from section 1.3. So this says solve the equation and show your work. And then down below we're going to check the answer. So when you have ones like this, there's a couple things to remember. So first of all, you have to remember to simplify each side of the equation. So you sort of forget about this side of the equation for a moment, and you're going to focus on just simplifying that. And then when you're finished with that, you're going to forget about this side of the equation for the moment and focus on simplifying that. And then you'll start solving the equation itself. So let's focus on this, each side separately. So the first thing I'm going to do over here is distribute my 2 here. Then I've got to distribute this negative sign. Some of you are kind of uncomfortable about that. You can insert a 1 in there so that you're thinking of it as distributing a -1 if you want to. You don't really need to do that, but if that helps you, that's okay. And then over on this side, we're going to distribute the 5. Okay, so let's start distributing over here. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times minus x is minus 2x. We've still got that plus 7 that's in the middle there. We're distributing that negative sign, so negative sign distributed to an x makes minus x. Negative sign distributed to a positive 6 makes minus 6. Now on this side, 5 times x is 5x. 5 times positive 3 is plus 15. Okay, so that's getting rid of the distribution. Now we're going to look at combining like terms on each side separately. So remember, you don't want to start doing things to both sides of the equation until each side is completely simplified. Now this side over here is simplified already. We can't combine those, so we're going to just leave that side alone for the moment, and work over here. So here we have, here's a like term with this and with this. So I think to myself, 10 plus 7 is 17, minus 6 is 11. And then I have this is a like term with this. So negative 2x minus x gives me minus 3x. And then I can just write down the rest of that equation because I'm not doing anything with that. Now I'm going to start doing things to both sides of the equation. Remember, we want to collect the variables on one side, collect the numbers on the other. I always like to collect my variables on the left-hand side. That'll help us when we get to inequalities. So we'll have 11 minus 8x equals 15. I'll move this down a little bit. So now we're ready to get rid of the 11. So we have negative 8x equals 4. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 8. X equals negative 4/8, which is equal to negative 1/2. So this is a very long one to check your answers because really to check your answer you need to go all the way back up to the original thing, and because it came as a fraction, I'm going to skip checking it. Of course, you don't have that luxury on the test. If we ask you to check it, you have to check it. I'll give you a little hint. We won't ask you to check one that's this hard with that kind of a fractional answer. So, but do the check if we ask you to do that. Okay, now this is one that causes people a lot of trouble both on the Module 1 test and on the proficiency test. So be really sure you know how to do this by clearing fractions. When we talk about clearing fractions, we mean don't do the normal equation solving stuff and trying to subtract 5/4 from both sides and that sort of thing. So what we mean by clearing fractions, look in your book if you don't know how to do this. Make sure you're looking at the worked examples in section 1.3 so that you know how to do this, because this will keep you from having to do all those fractions operations. When you clear fractions, all you have to do is find a common denominator and know how to multiply fractions. And that's a lot easier than all the other operations that you might have to do. So to find a common denominator for all the fractions, I'm going to look at all the denominators, and I'm going to look for the number that all of them will go into. So 3, 4, and 12 all go into 12, so that means my lowest common denominator is 12. That's the thing I have to know in order to be able to do this. So now I know what my common denominator is. The way I've been doing it is slightly different from the way the book writes it. So I put parentheses around the entire equation, and then, because I want to remind myself that what I'm doing is multiplying the 12 by everything in this equation, by each term. So when I multiply that 12 by a fraction, I'm going to make the 12 into 12 over 1. When I multiply it by a whole number, I'm not going to do that. So here's the way it's going to look. 12 over 1 times 1/3 h plus 12 over 1 times 5/4 equals 12 over 1 times 7/12 plus, and here I don't need to do the 12 over 1, I'm just going to do this. So I took that 12 and multiplied it by each term in the whole equation. Be sure you practice these and know how to do these. So now what I'm going to do is multiply straight across to multiply the fractions. So 12 times 1 is 12, 1 times 3 is 3, so I have 12 over 3h plus 12 times 5 is 60, 1 times 4 is 4, 12 times 7 is 84, 1 times 12 is 12. Oops, I forgot an h up there. Don't do what I did, be careful. Make sure you don't forget something like that, because that'll mess everything up. Okay, and then 12 times 2 is 24. Next step down, you just do the divisions. Now, if you've done it correctly, if you've found the right common denominator and multiplied correctly, these will all come out to be whole numbers. And if something else happens, it means you messed up above, so go back and recheck your answers. These are all going to come out as whole numbers. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 60 divided by 4 is 15. 84 divided by 12 is 7. And then I have my 24. So now, this is the whole point of clearing fractions, is now we have an equation to solve that doesn't have any fractions in it. So I'm going to collect my h's on the left. I'm just doing normal equation solving now. And I'm going to subtract 15. So I have 3h equals 9. There's our final answer.